this I'd like to share. The most profound thing, really, that Henry Nouwen said was our true spiritual work lies in allowing God to love us entirely and to trust that we arrive at the fullness of our vocation in this love. I think it's so profound, just allowing ourselves to be loved entirely by God and trust that we arrive at the fullness of our vocation in this love. So the short way of putting that is our vocation is to live as beloved.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soulfulness of Life podcast with your host, Soul Coach Jazara. Today, I have as a guest Sister Bubbles Bandojo. She is a Senecal sister. She used to be based in Manila, but now she's based in Singapore, the Senecal Center in Singapore. And she is, I just found out recently, the voice behind many of the mass songs or praise and worship songs that I've always been listening to, and it has been a source of spiritual nourishment for me. Sister Bubbles does workshops or courses as part of retreats at the Senecal, and one of them is reclaiming our belovedness. And I thought it's such a beautiful topic because this concept of being the beloved of Christ is actually also rooted on our vocation or our purpose. And as you know, I am life purpose coach, and so this is really a very relevant topic. So I'd like to welcome on the show Sister Bubbles Bandojo. Hello.
Hi, hello. Thank you for having me.
Go ahead, Sister Bubbles.
All right. I'm a Senecal sister. We are religious sisters, although, we don't wear the veil, but we are Senecal, we are religious. And our work largely is about giving retreats and spiritual direction, anything about that would bring about the awakening and deepening of faith of the people of our time, so that transformation can happen. But you will find many sisters really involved in formation work, both human and spiritual formation. So in the Philippines, you attended the retreat at the Senecal Retreat House. It's a small retreat house compared to the many others I'm sure that you have been to or people have been to in Tagaytay. But yes, it is like an oasis in the city. Despite the traffic of Katipunan, people I still find that it's relatively easy to go to. So thank you for attending our retreats.
I was talking to a friend, Sister Bubbles, and she was saying, I'm not so familiar about these retreats, and I was thinking kasi people can just easily find it, but it's good to also let them know that there's actually places you can go to that are very near Ateneo.
Yes,
Near
yes.
Ateneo and Miriam. And for me, I've known the Senecal ever since I was in, I think, out of college. A friend of mine brought us there because she was discerning. For a
Ah,
solo, I think it was as for spiritual direction, discerning if she would accept a marriage proposal.
wow.
Oh,
We get quite a few of those. because we are also spiritual directors. No,
Yes.
I guess it would be similar to what you do, ah. But how do I call you? I know you're so. How do I call
So
you?
yes,
How do you want to be
at
called?
the yeah, at the Senecal, I'm known as Sanki. So my
Sanki.
spiritual directress is Sister Anna Malapitan. At some point, I also went there with Sister Angie Villanueva. So yeah, yung mga sisters who have talagang inakay ako during times when I needed some direction and somebody to just actually hold space for me.
Mm-hmm.
And at
Mm-hmm.
that time, I wasn't a coach yet. So my real name is Juzara, yon. So that's why when I became a coach, because it was really, sabi nga, completely different trajectory of my life. I rebranded myself. It was like a rebirth. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started using my real name. When I say soul coach, it's really because a lot of the coaches very cognitive yung approach, yeah, cerebral, lalo na pag executive coaching. But we find that I really need to go deep into like talking about purpose. Yeah, and those are, 'di ba, medyo it really goes into the soul. And then mindfulness also, it used to be not so much talked about in corporate, but now it's incorporated in programs on wellness, 'di ba, yung mindfulness, ganyan. Even forgiveness, 'di ba, yung mga those are
Mm-hmm.
things you also encounter in the workplace. So anyway, that is me. Yeah, the Senecal for me, many times, no, I parang talagang sometimes we run there when you need to, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, it is really a quiet place, many quiet corners to pray. There's a beautiful garden, and what I always remember are the rabbits that were
Yes.
sometimes free roaming. Ayan.
Yes.
So, and yun nga nakalagay, to contemplate actually. They're part of contemplating yung nature, di ba? Is such a helpful way to contemplate. And there are many things you can learn from just observing the stillness of a turtle. Diba? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's go to our topic, Sister Bubbles. You conduct this
Retreat.
retreat, yes,
Yes.
on this topic, no? Yes, maybe you can talk about that.
Okay. The title of this retreat is Praying Our Belovedness. Sometimes, when I have given it in a shorter form, like the other weekend, I gave it as an afternoon recollection, and the title is Beloved is Our Name. So, but basically, pretty much the same content. I have to say that the inspiration for this retreat is Henry Nouwen's writings. Henry Nouwen was a Dutch priest, who wrote a lot about belovedness. He was a very prolific writer. In his lifetime, he published about 50 books, and there were more published after his death. But many critics like to say that he only wrote one book because he only wrote basically about the richness of the reality of our belovedness. And also because, and he was first to admit it, that while it was the one thing that founded his core identity, his own experience of his spiritual core identity, he found that it was also the one thing that he struggled with. And maybe that's why he kept writing about it. It was own way of coming home to his core identity as beloved. So anyway, it's a very simple retreat. I like to tell people, and I at the beginning I say I don't know if you will hear anything new, but I guess having a retreat about it gives you the space to really go deep because, as you say, it's something that you can only truly understand if you go deep. You know, so our core identity is we are beloved from eternity before any other people loved us, or also before anything terrible has happened to us, we have been loved by God already. So, and it's something that's freely given to us. Who we are as beloved has everything to do with who God is. Because God is love. God cannot help but create his beloved creatures, or her beloved creatures. I should say his or her. God's not necessarily me.
Yeah.
But it's totally unmerited. It's totally given free.
Mm.
We just need to accept it, to recognize it, to accept it, because that's the hard part. It's given, but we need to claim it for ourselves. Claim it, reclaim it, you know how it is in life, no? Our life's very complex. So we forget, we reclaim. I guess that's the core of it, really, that we are beloved, freely given. But we also know that sometimes the simplest things are the hardest to live. I guess we need to constantly uh, be formed, be formed in this identity, because the world tells otherwise. The world's we it's like we need to live countercultural values. The world's message is you have to achieve such and such to be the best. You have
Mm,
to perform such and such to be the best. It's almost always like a competition to be
mm,
recognized, to be admired, to be accepted, to be loved, even. But not so in the realm of belovedness. And this I'd like to share. What
mm,
the most profound thing really that Henry Nouwen said was, our true spiritual work lies in allowing God to love us entirely, and to trust that we arrive at the fullness of our vocation in this love. I think that's so profound. Just allowing ourselves to be loved entirely by God, and trust that we arrive at the fullness of our vocation in this love. So the short way of putting that is, our vocation is to live as beloved.
yes. We have been so conditioned that we need to earn
Mhm.
the respect, the love, diba, of others. It's something that is not just freely given. Parang it's so hard for us to accept that it's just free. You don't have to do anything to,
Absolutely.
yeah, and to stretch that even further. And this is also what I learned in the Seneca. Kasi, well, I guess I'm used to having also mga bosses in the past na to earn their ano, no, lalo na yung mga perfectionist na bosses, to earn their praise. Grabe yung, what you have to go through, and parang it, and it's not even still enough, and the place of competition and all that. And of course the other thing is you make mistakes, 'di ba? And
Of course.
and when you're in conditioned in that kind of world where you always have to be sort of like perfect, 'di ba? When you make a mistake, parang napatawad ka na nga ng iba or nakalimutan na ng iba, other people have already forgotten it, and yet you still hold yourself, you
Yeah.
still castigate yourself. And what I realized was, oh, when I went to the Seneca, it was actually not a thing of forgiving others. It was really more forgiving myself. And I recall that time, no, Sister Angie was sharing with me through an anecdote. Sabi niya, sabi niya, she just had a hip replacement. I think that time she just had a major accident, and she said, I wasn't even sure if I was going to live through the operation.
Mm.
But sabi niya, it was that moment where I felt so much joy and
Mm.
so much parang ano, sabi niya, you know what I'm going to give you? I wrote something when I was there. It's exactly what you need, and it's about um God is happiness, and God really is just parang so glad for you to be here. And she was saying that sometimes we're so concerned about our appearance before God, how good we are. And sabi niya, I was visiting an aunt, and I wasn't, sabi niya, I was an unannounced guest. So sabi niya, I called my aunt in Tagaytay and I said, oh, I'm in Tagaytay, and uh since you're there, might as well visit you. But my aunt was like so concerned about, oh, but the house is not clean. I didn't prepare anything for you. But Sister Angie was saying she didn't really care about any of those. She just wanted to be able to visit. And she said that that same way with us, that, sometimes he doesn't really care in what state you're at, or, uh, maybe how grave your sins are. What matters to him is, just to come before him, and he will love you completely. regardless. And parang it's such a hard concept for people to understand. Oh, I don't know where all that is coming from. But imagine if we just allowed ourselves to ano.
Mhm.
And maybe sister, you can share your own experience because I'm sure you have experienced that intimate, 'di ba? Yung when you finally allowed yourself just to be loved by God. What was that moment or that point in your life like?
I guess that threw me off. Uh, I was very young, when I I recognized, like, I guess when the revelation, personal, intimate revelation of God came to me, it came really unbidden. I mean, it it was a quiet time. I remember I was in grade 7. I was in grade 7, sitting in
Wow.
the chapel of my school, and it was lunchtime. My friends were, how the corridors are filled with girls there playing whatever, and I don't know. I just wanted to be quiet before the afternoon class, and I just sat in the chapel, and I would say it was a religious experience. And it was just a very sacred time where I felt very warm in my heart that it was Jesus making himself known to me. And at that moment, that moment was a moment of pure love. So, ito yung unmerited, free, unbidden, really. It didn't have anything to do with who I was, what I could do, what I had. It was just Jesus making himself known and kind of telling me, I want to be friends with you. And for me, that was a core experience, core religious experience of belovedness. It brings to the fore, I guess, that whole idea that I don't need to do anything. I was just, I went to the chapel only because it was the quietest place in the school. I just wanted to be quiet. I wasn't intending to pray. No, I
Mm.
just wanted to sit, and this happens. And I have a very regular, normal family. I'm very grateful for my family. It's far from perfect, but it's still the place of first knowing, as I say. My catechesis was taught and all of these things. It was the first place of being loved. I'm fortunate that way because it was kind of easy for me to know a God of love because I have experienced being loved in my own family. And I
Mm.
know you're saying, why is it difficult for people to just accept when it's freely given? And it's a whole complex world behind us, I guess, that makes it difficult. First, our own upbringing. There is such brokenness in our life. And also, as I said, the values that the world reinforces, which runs so counter to belovedness. We must remember that we are broken as beloved. Um, and it is in our brokenness that God reveals God's self. I must say, in this realm of belovedness, there are four movements, as Nawen suggests it. We are chosen, blessed, broken, given. He really uses the four words from the consecration at Mass. He uses it's really taken, blessed, broken, given. But he likes to use the word chosen over taken kasi daw it's a warmer word. So we're chosen, but
Mm.
again, this is very different from what the world suggests. Kasi in the world, to be chosen means to be set apart, di ba? Di ba? Pagka chosen ka, there are others who are not chosen. Like, there can only be one Miss Universe
Mm.
of the 80 girls that are competing, that kind of thing. But in the sense of the belovedness we speak about, there's something very radical about it. Instead of being exclusive, it's inclusive. Instead of rejecting, it's accepting. How does that make sense? When I awaken to my being beloved, to my being chosen, it's also the same moment I awaken to the belovedness of the other. So, in other words, I'm not the only one who's beloved. I'm not the only one who's chosen. Other people are also chosen and beloved. That's why it's inclusive. Our brokenness is something we also need to accept as much as our belovedness. Kasi our brokenness is just as unique as our belovedness. You know, I can only be broken in the way that I am, and you can only be broken in the way that you are. But uh, but God enters into our lives and into our persons many times, even through that brokenness. Di ba nga, sometimes we only recognize God when we're broken eh. When we're not, parang okay lang tayo, di ba?
Mm.
But so that that experience of brokenness can be such grace also. You know what? I like to use the image of. Are you familiar with? You must be familiar with kintsukuroi or kintsugi. You know the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery. Parang ganun tayo eh. And golden. They use it. They repair with seams of gold. You know, and
Mhm.
then the vessel is even more beautiful. You know, that's who we are. So we are really and golden. We're put
Mhm.
together with seams of gold, and then we're more beautiful. So it veers away from the value of the world about perfection, you know. So in a way, we can celebrate our brokenness, our imperfection. We can celebrate impermanence and all of that.
Just recently I came across like a video no na about kasi I would sign my email Love and Light ganyan. Love and Light Soul Coach Juzara. It's parang very aligned. But then there was a speaker saying na um spirituality isn't about all love and light. Sabi niya.
Mhm.
Yung parang your true spirituality comes out when you actually allow yourself to go through the darkness, 'di ba? And some people kasi go through the darkness pero parang feeling nila hindi na sila deserving pag
Mhm.
they went through the darkness and parang I'm not worthy, ganun-ganon na, 'di ba? It's all self-judgment and there's no more parang room for me to change and but the thing is all of us go through yun nga all these brokenness in life. This is life is such a school for us to grow and that's the only way for us to grow. We cannot be parang so strong spiritually if it's all love and light, right? So but the thing is to go through that darkness but also know that you are loved even through that darkness and that is what allows you to break into the light. It's much stronger than before you were broken. And you shared your experience, grade 7.
I'm
And,
precarious. I don't know. I'm sorry, but that's
sorry.
part of my story. It's a very significant part of my story.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. I can imagine yung yeah, yung out of the blue, 'di ba? Yung and no parang preparation whatsoever and you were just made to experience that kind of like really oneness and maybe I think that's bliss and
Mm,
peace and 'di ba? Wow, what it feels like to truly know Jesus not as somebody very
mm,
distant but
mm.
somebody who's just like a friend, as you
Yeah.
said, a friend and what that joy that brought you. And maybe some people would think, oh, that calling of being beloved is just for the religious, it's just for the single, or yung ganyan. So, kasi, what about, but as you said, there is no distinction. They're being chosen because he chose all of us. He didn't
Mm,
choose, this episode is going to come out. It's so timely because it's Lent right now. And of course, Lent is the darkness part, the suffering, but there will always be Easter, there will always be the light, diba? And we would like to provide inspiration for everyone who will come across this, that this gift is not just for Sister Bubbles, diba?
no.
It's not just or for me, or diba? It's really and that's also something I tell my coaches, diba? Yung transformation, we're always given that gift of transformation that's really rooted by knowing that you are loved.
I think key to this is because it's true. We know many people go through lives through their lives not knowing, diba? And sayang in a way, because while it is there for it's given, there for our taking, actually. If we do not do our part in claiming it, it has no meaning, di ba? So the invitation to this, first of all, a relationship to God, syempre, because it's in that context that belovedness shines through. Pero I think key to slowly awakening to this reality is that mindfulness nga. I mean, I was very struck because you said it's really one of the things that you teach your coaches. That's one very important part of coaching, is to cultivate a certain mindfulness. We go through our lives very unmindfully many times because ang bilis ng buhay pa. You wake up in the morning, you go through your day, and by the evening, you don't even know what happened to your day. Why? Because there's no mindfulness anymore. There's no awareness of how the day went, how you began your day, who were the people you met, what were the significant experience of the day, all of those things. Kasi it's in the mindfulness that you start to discover uh, the blessing that life is. When you're mindful, apart from that, when you um, when you go deep into the heart of things, that's when we discover how blessed we are. That's when we discover the giftedness of life. That's when we discover, sino ba ako? I mean, when we start to ask even, who am I? And it's only when we start to ask these questions, only when we start to have this kind of consciousness and awareness, that we start to awaken to the reality of God in our lives. And that it is God who gifts us our belovedness. So it's for everybody. It's not just for special people, as it were. It's not just for religious or spiritual people. It's there for all of us. But we need to create the space for it. If we don't create space for it, it's very likely, it's very easy to go through life being unmindful. And we miss out, I think. We miss out because the gift is there.
You were mentioning mindfulness, and a lot of our life is really not high moments, right? Yung,
No.
'di ba? The mind, and it's sometimes you're so exhilarated and parang in the present uh when you have been preparing for a trip and finally you're in that trip, 'di ba? It's that trip or that award that you've been or that promotion or that ganyan. But it's really, as they say, the moments in between
Yeah. Yeah.
that make up life. And that is, we always want to chase something, like, parang they say a destination addiction, that uh you're not happy until you achieve the next goal. And what happens to all those minutes, days, years in between, where when we're not mindful? And then the ironic thing is, once you achieve what you were
Mm,
aiming for, you
mm,
realize that it didn't really provide you that satisfaction, and you're now off to the next, diba?
yes.
The next. So, can you share with us, in the Senecal, it's really that place. It's so quiet. It's so, and it's really, I was going through really a difficult time some years back, no, before I transitioned into this where I'm now. And it was, I guess, I'm used to so much activity. Even while I was at the Senecal, I couldn't stay put. I had to go to the art room. Buti nga may art room. I had to channel all my energy. So read those spiritual cards, listen to the music, ganon. But I guess after all of that activity, finally I sat at the chapel. And this was, I was about to, that was my last day. I went there for, I think, 3 days. On my last day, uh, I did I did na all, like, the activities and solo retrito. And that was in that moment before my ride came. That was when I heard God say, "Finally, finally you're
Mm,
here. I'm so
mhm,
glad you made time." Just parang, okay, and I really knew, like, it was. I think, if I didn't leave that space, for just being still and just having nothing na talaga I'm wanting to do, Yeah, I wouldn't have heard it because it's so quiet, it's so still. Sayang if you miss it.
Mm,
And he didn't answer. I was praying for a like a positive outcome of something very big I was going through, but he didn't really answer me with a solution, which was what I was asking for. He just told me, "I'm so glad that you made time." Yung ganon, that you're here. And that
mm,
it's really just saying na I love you, 'di ba? Parang ganon na
mm,
you are loved. He doesn't, sabi ko nga, he doesn't really care what I was going, because he already knows that I will get through that. And that little voice that in the silence, in my finally, when I arrived in that stillness, was enough for me
mhm,
to know that
mhm.
everything was gonna be okay. 'Di ba?
Right,
Parang, yeah.
right. Mm.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
doesn't happen all the time. So,
no, no.
yeah.
It doesn't happen all the time. These are the special moments. Kasi you cannot be on retreat all the time, no? You carve
Yes.
out special time to go on retreats. I don't know, several times a year, twice, once at least. But that's important also. But as you say, it's in the everydayness, ordinariness of life that that we experience the challenge. Kasi nga, we're always busy. But it's possible, I mean, you cannot always go away on retreat, I think, especially for people who are busy at work. And even if you have already changed, you shifted careers, even for you, I'm sure you're busy with your coaches and all of that. So talagang you need to be intentional about the special times. But even in the everyday, and it doesn't have to be long, huh? I like if all you can manage is 5-10 minutes of quiet time, then okay, 5-10 minutes of just sitting, not necessarily, of course, because I'm a spiritual director, my language is always prayer. Carve out time every day for prayer. But you can look at it like not everybody can pray in 10 minutes. So sabi ko, okay, then 10 minutes of quiet time whenever and wherever that might be possible. And it's just about sitting with yourself, listening to yourself or listening to whatever you're hearing all around. Because that's the beginning of mindfulness. That's
Mm.
how mindfulness begins. When you're able to sit down and listen to yourself, listen to your thoughts, or not, or just nothing, not do anything, but sit there. But in your sitting, you're likely to become more aware. You're likely to become more mindful. And it's in this silence where you also become more aware of how God is moving in your life, how the blessing is real in your life. You're able to find God in everything. So um, what's important, I think, is the everyday. In fact, the everyday is more important than those special times because you spend most of your time in the everyday. So that's where we need more intentionality about carving out space to be quiet, to listen to the blessing, to listen to who we are. I like to say I hard sell prayer, and especially a particular way of praying, yung short lang, the consciousness examen, because I said it's in prayer where we hear the voice that calls us beloved. We pray to be loved. So you can look at it also another way. We go to the silence to be loved because we need that space. Sometimes we don't hear that voice anymore in the in the activities of the day. So it is possible to be intentional. If you can only start with 5 minutes, okay, 5 minutes. Then you can gradually increase the time when you become more used to it. Because it's also a case of getting used to it. Diba? It's like flexing muscles, uh, uh, or exercising muscles that you normally don't exercise. It will hurt in the beginning, but you'll get used to it. And then you'll start to crave for more. Like that.
Sister, you were sharing about that examen prayer. Do you
Yes,
want to
yes.
share about it?
Okay. The consciousness examen is a prayer from Ignatian spirituality. Doesn't need to take long. It's about 15 minutes. You can usually done at the end of the day. The Jesuits, they do it twice a day, at midday and at the end of the day. But for us, even just doing it at the end of the day, it's a way of reviewing. your day. And there are 5 simple steps. The first is a prayer for light. And we pray for light because we would like God to guide us to see the significant parts of the day that may not be so obvious to us. So we need the guidance of this Holy Spirit. So that's a prayer for light, the beginning. The second is a prayer of thanksgiving. And for me, this is a wonderful faith statement because it's like saying, no matter how the day went, there's always something to be grateful for. Always. So you name, this is time to name the things that you're grateful for about the day. The third step is pretty much like the bulk of the prayer because it's about reviewing the specifics of the day. You know, like what happened today, who are the people I encountered, what were the significant experiences. And when I say significant experience, it doesn't have to be anything so spectacular sometimes. There are days nothing great happens, right? But it could be like just, I saw that the way the sunlight, the rays of the sun shone on the garden. I saw this, something that caught your attention. Or it could be a specific experience now that's significant of the day. And then, so you look at those experiences and ask, there are 2 questions to ask. How was God present in that experience or encounter? And how did I respond? So there are 2 important questions. For the fourth step, you might want to pick out a strong feelings go with those experiences, no? So you might want out a strong feeling from what you have seen in the third step and focus on that or that focus on that experience also. This in the fourth step, there might be more feelings that kasi parang you're going deeper, no? More feelings could enter, including perhaps a feeling of regret, a feeling of, parang wanting to be sorry about something about the day. So you bring all of that also before God. And the last step is always a prayer of hope. Again, a faith statement. No matter how my day went, I always end it with a prayer of hope and a looking forward to tomorrow. So all of this, 15 minutes lang, 15, 20 minutes, no longer than that, really. And it's enough to ground us. For me, it's a prayer of mindfulness. It's a prayer of awareness. And the focus of the consciousness examen is how God has moved with us through our day. So what it fosters in us is precisely that awareness that God is with us at every step. So if we become aware of that, I think it becomes like a gold mine for discovering our belovedness. Because our belovedness reveals itself more and more clearly in the context of our relationship with God. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's something that is like a friendship to be cultivated every day. It's not
Yes.
it's not just when you go on a retreat
Yeah.
and those experiences that sister and I mentioned may not be the same experience, or people may not experience that, but you'll be amazed if you just really become mindful every day. Even like some people, maybe I'm one of them, na like may pagka-ADHD ba, yung hindi ma-stay put, ang hirap to sit still for a long time. Although I'm actually in a program teaching me to do that, just focus on my breath, ganyan. But and now my task is to be mindful while I'm doing chores, like the
Good.
thing. Yeah,
Good.
so I was saying to the one who's counseling me on mindfulness that it's so hard for me because I would judge these activities as low value, and I would notice my breath as heavy because I just want to get over the task and do something that is related to achieving my goal, and I feel like those chores are not damad. But when I started being breathing through it in a relaxed way, you actually enjoy the mundane things. And
Mhm.
yeah, and to as you mentioned, yeah, and God is there. Whether it's the saint, is it Saint Therese,
Mhm.
little flower that she said, diba, it's in the little things, and
Yeah.
parang doing little things with great
Yeah.
love, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's what the saint of the little way, di ba?
Yeah.
And in fact, it's a paradox kasi no thing is so little. Nothing is so little, di ba? Going back to the point of it's so hard to keep still. um, I what I have suggested to people who find it hard to keep physically still to be mindful is to examine what of their activities could perhaps help them uh, cultivate mindfulness. It's a little funny to say that, no? But for example, uh, if it's really hard to sit still, go for a walk.
Yes, 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 yes.
Diba? Go for a walk. Or if you're the type who likes to exercise, then okay, use the exercise time for mindfulness. Like there was a time that I've always been so interested in yoga, but
Mm,
not just because of the exercise. And I understand now because when I did that a few years ago, the yoga teacher was saying, yoga is really prayer plus intention. So when
mm,
I stopped doing it because I had to move assignments. No, but when I was doing it, I found that I like to do it after my prayer time. Kasi parang the movements can be prayer also, eh. No?
yes, yes,
So
true.
look for something that you're already doing or you like doing, and let it
Mm,
be part of the whole exercise to become more mindful. Kasi you'll be surprised, eh. In fact, even when we're doing things, our minds are going, di ba?
I know it never stops. It
So
never
it's
stops.
it's just a case of really training the mind, di ba?
Yeah, to come back
Oo.
home. And my brother-in-law was saying, I was telling him I was in this mindfulness program, and he said, the breath, it's so hard to just focus on the breath and quiet your thoughts because empty your mind. I don't think he was saying it's not possible. He said, so what I did was when I would swim. That's where I do my mindfulness because when you swim, you will definitely not forget to breathe when
Yeah.
you're like yeah. So it's just so the constant breathing was what so it really depends. Some people it's dancing,
Mm-hmm.
diba? It's
Mm-hmm.
movement. So it's yeah, movement is meditative or when you do art, it's also a form of praise. Actually, even washing the dishes.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
resonate with the I resonate with the swimming part because it was also that time that I was swimming every day for exercise. And it's a wonderful time for mindfulness and prayer.
true.
Especially yung serious ha, yung going laps, not talking to people and all these things.
Yeah.
Because it's easy, di ba? At least in Ateneo, when I used to swim, you're likely to see people you know. But I kept to one end of the pool so that I could just do it. And it's really, it's parang prayer time for me.
Yes. So at yeah, you can incorporate it in any part of your day. But yes, of course, before you retire to bed, of course, there will really be that quiet time and
Mhm.
doing that examen with talagang conscious examine is mindful
Mhm.
examination
Mhm.
can is the perfect time, 'di ba? When you wake up
Mhm.
also or
Yeah,
before you
yes.
leave to
Yeah,
bed, kahit short lang, it doesn't
yeah,
have to be long.
yeah. You'll have to, kasi if you're a morning person, you can do it in the morning, no? And review the
Yeah.
previous day. But if you're a night person and you can do it at the end of your day, despite already all of the things that you've done, and even if you're tired, you have to find the time that works for you. Diba?
Yeah.
So either in the late evening or in the early morning to review the previous day. Yeah.
Sige, sister. I know that we're only until 11 or thereabout. So there's only just two things or maybe three na lang kasi papakantayin pa kita. Yung isa would be since nga we're in Lent season now and 'di ba this is the time also where we go for confession, 'di ba? Some of us have of course all of us 'di ba are yung nga broken. We have certain bad habits or even addictions and things na parang we maybe feel that we cannot overcome. It's talagang ano na no, parang or even if you come if your environment is so like this and it has conditioned you to be like this, yung sometimes people feel like cannot change anymore and ganyan. So uh kasi we are talking about reclaiming our belovedness. So in that case where we really feel na yung people really feel like ang hirap to change yan. So that's one. The second one is um when we feel that love like what you felt no yung at grade 7 sometimes then we're also so used to not receiving that we sort of like run away. Yung parang you're so overwhelmed by it that yung people, I don't know, yung they can't receive so much of that love. I don't know, I
Mhm.
can relate to that though. Or yeah. And the third is, um, I will repeat it naman later, but I just wanted you to see the context of the question, the progression. The third is, when you have your gifts, like diba, like singing or whatever, diba? Like I have my own gift is communication, and that's why I'm using this podcast. And it's also your way of claiming your belovedness and using your gift of service to parang to live your vocation, right? It's just to now give, sabi mga, it's not just receiving but also responding, and
Mhm.
our using our gifts, our what we are good at that's unique to us, is one way of responding and living our vocation, and serving others, and of course celebrating God's love. Yeah, so first, okay, let's go back. So the first one is yeah, let's talk about diba, sin, conditioning, addictions, and in cases like that, it's so difficult siguro to claim your belovedness kasi nga the unworthiness, the guilt comes in, the shame even,
Mhm.
right?
Um, for me, the only thing I would like to say to somebody who would feel this hesitation or who's feeling like it's a hard thing and all that is it's okay. Don't try to fix the context. Don't try to fix who you are and where you are because even that runs counter to belovedness. We cannot fix ourselves. So whoever we are, wherever we are, however we are, why ever we are, be there. So start where you are and be yourself. Whoever we are is the best place to start. So if it's muddy, if it's ambivalent, if it's unclear, if it's full of muck, let it be. Because this is where God will meet us. So you mentioned confessions, Lent na, di ba? So for me, confession is a beautiful sacrament of God's forgiving love. So if you can, if you're able to, and if you feel called to it, maybe that can be a start. Kasi if you're so full of the darkness in you, that's the sacrament to go to because it's the sacrament of God's forgiving love. And I hope you're able to find a confessor who can make you feel God's love in the midst of all of that darkness. So, sige lang. It's what, that's my great philosophy. Sige lang, tuloy lang. It's difficult. Yes, I know, I understand it's difficult. But please do not stop. Do not stop the exploration. That keep yourself open to life. Kung mahirap pang hanapin yung Diyos, if it's still hard to open up to God, that's fine. Just open up yourself to life and all that life offers because it is there where God will meet you.
God really, so ano no, God meets you where you are. Yung
God
and
meets us
he,
where we are. So be yourself and be who you are. Be your beautiful self and be your beloved self. By the way, even when we don't know it, we are beloved.
yeah.
And we
Mm-mm.
bank on that grace. Anyway, yes.
Okay. The second one, in ano no, yung expanding our capacity to receive God. Because many of us are, so yun nga, used to, ito lang yung kaya kong ma-receive. Hindi pa, ano,
Mm,
and syempre God's love is so,
mm,
sometimes it's overwhelming. It can
mm,
be very gentle, but so overwhelming. And
mm.
yung not to be afraid to receive it, not to run
Yeah,
away from it. Yeah.
yeah. So I would extend what I said there, no? Just to have the openness makes it possible. If all you can receive is what, 10%, okay, the 10%. If all you can receive is 20, then 20. Okay. Again, accept your own capacity for receiving and not force it. Kasi sometimes the pressure comes from ourselves, not naman from outside eh. Diba?
Mm.
And we are our own worst enemies, I think. So be accepting of your own capacities, including your capacity to receive. So wag ipilit, don't force it. Because again,
Mm.
the grace can happen in the little that we are able to in our little capacities until it expands even more.
When you were, syempre, you were still a child, well, grade 7, when you sort of like began receiving, did it scare you, sister? Or parang, then, or was it the start that you started to cultivate it, or did you forget it for a while, run away from it for a while? Yeah.
Did it scare me? It didn't scare me because it came
Mm.
with such a gentleness and the recognition of uh, Jesus and the offer for friendship came with such a gentleness. Did I forget? Sure, there were times I guess that I forgot. I was young, no? But I was very fortunate, I guess, to be surrounded by a very supportive community. So my family, so my friends, the school. I'm fortunate. I'm very blessed that way because I had the necessary supports. I remembered what I was going to say about the receiving.
Yes.
We can practice receiving from God if we can practice receiving from people. Not God kaagad. But in our everyday life, to be mindful about how we are called to receive from people in small ways, in big ways, that can open up the possibility to receive from God. No. And God is always giving us every day, every moment, God is always giving us something. So when we have the same experience of receiving from people, that can make us ready to receive from God.
Mm.
So,
Yes. Yeah. How are you with compliments? Do you say, oh, hindi
yeah.
naman?
Oh, di naman, di naman. I say that too. I have a very good friend sa Jesuit who's very talented. I will mention it's Father Arnel Aquino. He's a musician and we collaborate a lot. So he's very gifted in so many ways, not just with music. And when we were younger, I noticed whenever he was praised, he would be so uncomfortable, say, hindi naman, da, da, da. And I said to him once, alam mo, thank you lang yan. When you are praised, all you have to say is thank you.
Yeah.
Said, no, kasi it makes me uncomfortable. The attention makes me feel uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
I said, the more you refuse it, the more you don't accept simply, the more attention is given to you, di ba? Whereas
Oh,
if you say thank you, okay na. Thank you. You
yeah.
acknowledge the gift, you receive,
Yeah.
and it's okay na. That's all na.
Allow yourself to receive. It doesn't mean you're being proud. Yeah,
No, simple.
it's just because God also wants to gift you,
Mm,
wants to yon to yeah to give you to gift you,
mm,
and yun nga if we can't allow ourselves to receive simple compliments,
mm,
how can we receive these bigger graces?
mm,
Okay, and the last part of my question was linking as you mentioned, claiming our belovedness, receiving is one part of it, and the other part is responding. And I would like to link that with responding also in the way of um, recognizing the gifts we are given and using that from a very deep place of love to be able to um, glorify God and also to serve others. And we do have gifts like Sister Bubbles, who is
mm.
uh, would give life to the compositions of our Father Honti, Father Antiveros, the late Father Antiveros, si Father, also Father Manolingba,
Yes,
Francisco,
and Father Arnel Aquino also. Yeah.
and Father Arnel Aquino,
Mm.
who she just mentioned, these composers, not Jesuit composers. Is it like I get confused with Himig Jesuita? Is it Himig Jesuita? It is
Yes.
Himig Jesuita. And to use that because it is a natural response to user gifts. So maybe you can
Yeah.
talk to that.
Yeah, I said there are four movements no, in the life of the beloved. The fourth is given. And that precisely corresponds with what you are saying. We are beloved not just for ourselves. We are beloved for the world, for others. And there's something very natural about that. Because as we live our belovedness, it's something that's so overwhelming. It fills us. It fills us. And when we're full, a glass that's when we pour water in a glass, it overflows naturally pagka puno na, di ba? So it's the same with us. There's a natural flow of overflow na movement, and that's that's precisely about how we are called to give of ourselves. So the beloved is really beloved for others, for the world. So um, our core identity is what allows us to be on mission, you know, because mission flows from identity. If we know ourselves to be beloved, then that there's something very natural about being sent, about being given for others, and yeah, and using our gifts, whatever they are, and no gift is ever too small not to be shared with others.
Is there any particular quote that you would like to share, or any inspirational words to parang capture everything we've spoken about?
I repeat what I said in the beginning, no? When I give the retreat on belovedness, I have that one slide, and I like to tell the retreatants, if there's one slide you want to take a picture of, this is the one. And
Yeah.
it's the quote from Nawen. Our great spiritual work lies in allowing ourselves to be loved entirely by God and to trust that we arrive at the fullness of our vocation in this love.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
the short way to put it is our vocation is to live as beloved of God.
Yeah. And how beautiful life would be if you just recognize
Yeah,
your
yes,
belovedness. Yeah.
yes.
Sister, where can people, for those who are interested, maybe to know more about the Cenacle, whether here in Singapore or other places, how can they connect with you?
I think the easiest way would be we have a Facebook page.
Mm.
I know that Senecal in Quezon City, their account name is the Senecal Retreat House. For those of
Mm.
you who are in Manila, for those of you who are in Singapore, it's Senecal Sister Singapore. That's the quickest way to be in
Yeah.
touch with us.
If you want to go on a solo retreat, they can accommodate that. Or if you want to go on a group retreat with a specific topic like what Sister Bubbles is conducting or holding, they also have that. So in Singapore, Sister, so there are not just Filipinos going there, Singaporeans,
Yes,
different
yes,
nationalities.
yes. In fact, I just gave this belovedness retreat last weekend, and
Yeah.
they were mostly Singaporeans. There were two
Mm,
Filipinos, but yeah, yeah.
okay,
So
that's
if
good.
they look at our Facebook page, I guess they can also, if they just browse through it, be able to find the other retreats coming up, and they can
Okay.
also register.
Okay, sister, you are also, I know I was researching, you're also on Spotify. Did you can you also share? Yeah, because the song you have immortalized yourself in the songs
No,
that
you
are
know
out
that I am that my songs Spotify is the work of the Jesuit Music Ministry in Manila. Sila yon.
there.
they're the ones who they're the ones I think who put the songs there so that I guess it's more accessible. It's easier for people to use it. For me, for me, whenever I hear people say, "Sister, thank you," your songs help me pray. For me, that's wonderful. That's what it's for, I guess. So, and I like the idea that I'm able to accompany people in their prayer through song.
Yeah. It's a form of meditation also because sound is healing. Yeah,
Mhm.
sound is and definitely this positive and light vibration from the songs, the mass songs, the praise songs are instant instant medicine for the soul. So
Mhm.
sister, having said that, is there any I asked sister to share maybe even a short, like song, maybe relevant to this topic that we are talking about reclaiming our beloved.
There's a song that came to me, and unfortunately, it's I guess you will find it on Spotify, but I did not my own version. But it's a song that I like very much, and this one was composed by Father Manoling Francisco. So I'll sing part of it. It's called "Wag Kang Mangamba."
I know this song.
Wag kang mangamba, di ka nag-iisa. Sasamahan kita saan man magpunta. ika'y mahalaga sa aking mga mata. Minamahal kita, minamahal kita. Tinawag kita sa iyong pangalan. Ikaw ay aking magpakailanman. Ako ang Panginoon mo at Diyos, tagapagligtas mo at tagatubos. Huwag kang mangamba, di ka nag-iisa. Sasamahan kita saan man mapunta. Ika'y mahalaga sa aking mga mata. Minamahal kita, minamahal kita.
Thank you so much, sister. How beautiful.
Salamat po.
Instant,
Salamat po.
instant meditation. Thank you. What a beautiful
Okay.
song, no? How
Yeah, it's a
lovely.
beautiful song. Yeah.
You're so gifted with these talagang there's so many talented composers Filipino and talagang putting prayer into song. And thank you, sister, for sharing your voice.
Thank you.
for,
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much, and blessings on your work. More power. I shall keep you in my prayer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sister. Enjoy
Thank
the rest of
you.
your weekend.